Hey, welcome back to another episode in the Simple Nutrition Insights podcast. I am your host, Leonila Campos, registered dietitian. So, pardon me for my raspy voice. For some reason, I lost my voice on Monday, like Monday afternoon. I was totally fine. Monday morning, and then by the afternoon, like I was struggling with my voice, and so yeah. Anyway, so you're gonna hear my voice being different. That's okay. I might drink some water to help me, but we're doing okay here. So I wanted to do this podcast on fat soluble vitamins, just because I do get a lot of questions from my clients and my patients about like vitamin supplementation. Is it needed? Is it something that we should get? And so I wanted to start with the fat soluble vitamins, and then in another episode, I will talk about the water soluble vitamins because it's the bigger category. And so let's start there. And then in the show notes, always go to the show notes because there are usually links to resources. In today's episode, I'm also adding a handout that you can use as an educational handout for your reference. But I'll be also adding some links to like different studies or resources that talk more about the fat soluble vitamins and the upper limits and all that. So if you're driving or if you're busy, you don't have to stop, right? You can always go back to the show notes and you'll find that information there. I really appreciate your support and listening. If you feel that this episode or any of the other episodes that I've done are helpful or that are going to help I forgot my mic. Oh my goodness. Are going to help a family member or a friend, make sure to share that episode with them in my podcast. And then if you haven't followed me or subscribed to my podcast channel, please do so as well. I also have a YouTube channel, so I usually upload my videos because I record with camera on. So, if you're thinking about, okay, who is this person? How does she look like? You can go to my YouTube video from my YouTube channel, which I also link in the show notes. And you can also view the video because a lot of the times I share my screen and then I show you what I'm talking about. And sometimes having a visual really helps. Okay, so let's get started. Now, what are fat soluble vitamins? So the first thing to define is what a vitamin is, right? And it's just a smaller molecule, and it is under micronutrients, right? Micro means small nutrient. And so fat soluble vitamins, we have vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. K. So we have 4 fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. And they are called fat soluble vitamins because when we consume anything that has those vitamins, we absorb them in the small intestine in the presence of fat, right? But also they are stored in our liver, they are stored in our fat tissue. So essentially, we don't need to have them like every single day because as we consume them, our bodies store them, right? So that's the main thing with our fat soluble vitamins. Again, is vitamin E, D, E, and K. They are absorbed in the small intestine in the presence of fat. So what does that mean? It means that if we have a meal that has fat soluble vitamins in that meal, we're going to absorb that. If there is a presence of fat in our meals, which most of the times there is some kind of fat, if we're having protein, even if it's a lean piece of protein, there's going to be fat. Even if we have tofu has a healthy fat, so we're going to absorb it there. We're going to go more into detail what if I don't eat any fat, right? Although I don't recommend that, we need fat, right? Healthy fats, we still need them. And so if that is the case, right, adding a little bit of olive oil, right, to, maybe if you're having a salad, which again, going back to my previous episodes on making your meals balanced, adding that protein will take care of that fat, factor or recommendation. So I do want to share my screen so that way I can show you the handout that I created for you as a reference. And then in the handout, it talks about each of those fat soluble vitamins. So let me go here so I can share my screen with you. And like I said, you're going to have this handout handy so you can use it. Okay, so let's zoom in to the vitamin A. Oh, that's a lot. Go up here. Okay, vitamin A. The main functions of vitamin A are vision, right, your eyesight, skin rejuvenation, bone and tooth growth, reproduction, and immunity. And the recommendation for women is about 700 micrograms a day or 900 micrograms a day for men. And some of the food sources where we can get vitamin A are like liver, fish, eggs, dairy products, mangoes, papaya, squashes, carrots, sweet potatoes, and maize or maize. Think of like your like orangey vegetables or fruits. They are going to be high in vitamin A. So again, if you add a variety of these foods, you don't have to isolate, like you don't have to be so particular about, I need to always have, this food, right? What is going to matter in the end to try to get a variety of these vitamins and any other vitamins and any other nutrients, it's again focusing on that balancing of the meals, right? Adding a variety, even a variety week by week or every 2 months, you add like different colors of vegetables and fruits because you get the different nutrients, right? If we always eat the same food, then you are always getting the same nutrients coming from that food. So the more variety that you add, the better. The next fat soluble vitamin is vitamin D. Not surprisingly, here, a high amount of population is deficient in vitamin D. It's also called like the sunshine vitamin because we need sun to convert, right, the active form of vitamin D in our skin. And so if we're always inside, right, then we don't have that. We're not getting that conversion as often. But some of the functions are mineralization of bones, right? It makes our bones strong. There's a link there with bone health. It also helps our immune system in a neuromuscular function, like our brain function. And some of the recommendations here for vitamin D is about 5 micrograms a day for men, same thing for women. And some of the food sources are like fatty fish, right? Think of salmon, or fish liver oils, egg yolks, cheese, beef liver, mushrooms, more so mushrooms that have been treated with UV light, right? Because the vitamin D is converted into or is added to those plant sources. And in a little bit, I'll go more into detail between the difference of vitamin D2 and vitamin D3, so that way you know what that is. And then anything that is fortified with vitamin D, right? Like your milks, your plant-based milks, your fortified juices, cereals, if they're fortified, pretty much with any other vitamin, you can also get a source there. Now, again, if we're adding these nutrients coming from a variety of sources, and you go with your doctor, vitamin D is usually a vitamin that is checked more often than any other vitamins. Again, because there is the link of deficiency in like the majority of the population. And so if you go to your doctor's office and they tell you, oh, you're vitamin D deficient, a lot of the times they'll give you a vitamin D supplement. And we'll talk about supplements in a little bit as well. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to do some work there, right? Just making sure that you still try to get a variety of vitamin D coming from food sources if possible, but definitely taking your vitamin D supplements as prescribed. Because again, even though we need a small amount of these micronutrients, we still need them, right? If we're deficient, or if for some reason we are not getting enough, um, we can only get them from two ways, right? Either from food or from a supplement. And so if we're not getting them, then we can get into these deficiencies. Vitamin E is next. And the functions, it acts as an antioxidant, it stabilizes our cell membranes, right? It helps with creating these healthy cells and just in general a healthy body. And so the recommendation, right, for women is about 7 milligrams a day, and then for men it's about 10 milligrams a day. And some food sources are almonds, hazelnuts, peanuts, trout, salmon, red pepper, turnip greens, butternut squash, avocado, mango, and kiwi. Those are some of the vitamin E sources. And let's see, let's move on to vitamin K. Vitamin K, the main functions are synthesis of blood clotting proteins and bone proteins. So if you've had a baby, usually the baby will get like vitamin K, like a vitamin K supplement, again, because babies, they don't have vitamin K at all, and so they need that, right, as soon as they are born, to help them with like blood clotting and to make sure they're not, they start to bleed. And then obviously, as we start to get, as a baby, you get nutrients either from breast milk or formula, then you get that vitamin K. And as you get older, then we can get vitamin K from kale, collard greens, broccoli, spinach, cabbage, lettuce, blackberries, blueberries, kiwi. Those are some of the food sources where we can get vitamin K. If one of the questions that I get asked about vitamin K is like, do I need to stop eating these foods if I'm on a like blood thinner medication? And the only difference is that what's recommended is not to add a high amount, right? If you've been eating these foods with no problem, then you can continue to eat them unless otherwise advised by your doctor, because maybe your labs are showing otherwise. But it's usually not recommended to increase, right, these food sources when you start to take a blood thinner or something of that nature. But anyway, so I am going to, again, give you access to these little handout that you can have. Again, you don't really have to worry about, am I getting enough, right? Or do I have to track every single one of these vitamins? You don't, right? As long as you're getting a variety and a combination of these nutrients, on a regular basis, even if it's not every single day, but maybe, every week you get some sort of a combination of these fat soluble vitamins, again, because your body is able to absorb them and store them, you should be okay. Now, there are some conditions that do affect our fat soluble absorption, and one of them is irritable bowel syndrome, right? Again, and not only fat soluble vitamins, but many other vitamins too, because when you think about your small intestine, that's where most of the nutrients get absorbed. And so if there are issues with our small intestine, we're going to have other deficiencies, not only fat soluble vitamins, but also if you have issues with like pancreatitis, right, inflammation of your pancreas, cystic fibrosis, possibly some other autoimmune diseases that affects the absorption of these vitamins in general. And so if that is a concern that you have, you can always ask your doctor or your healthcare provider to check your fat-soluble vitamins, just to make sure that if you're deficient, right, you start adding more of these foods, or if it's needed, then you can get a supplement. But those will be the main things when it comes to the fat-soluble vitamins, the food sources, some of the recommendations. Now, there is another handout that I have here, which I'm going to share with you as well, just so that way you have a visual. Let me see if I can find it here. Right here. Okay, so this is more of like a study. So if you're like, this is really complicated, you don't have to get a headache from it. but I just want to add it as another resource that you can have for the fat soluble vitamins, right? One of the main things I did want to mention here is the difference between vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. So essentially, vitamin D2 is coming from your plant sources versus vitamin D3 is coming from your animal sources. Either way, your body can use that and convert it into like an active form of vitamin D, and you can use it. See, yeah, what I like about this article is that it does talk about the combination of these fat soluble vitamins and how they work together again, to keep us healthy essentially and to prevent maybe some cancers and prevent some other conditions. So if you're into that, you can read this article. Again, I'm gonna link it in the show notes. But if you don't, then that's okay. You don't have to. But again, it has those recommendations. Okay, so how about supplements, right? Do we need to add supplements? Now, supplements are useful, right? You can really benefit from them if there is a deficiency, or if for sure you're like, I've tried and I cannot seem to get a variety of these foods that are going to give me this vitamin D or these fat soluble vitamins. Can I take a supplement, right? So number one, you always have to talk to your healthcare provider, your doctor about adding any kind of supplements, even more so fat soluble supplements, because again, we store them, right? And so we don't need to have these huge mega doses. There's something called the upper limit for each of the vitamins and minerals too, which I'll find an article for you and you can reference that as well. And so, meaning that there's an upper limit of each of the nutrients that consume in a supplement form that can be dangerous, right? So, the first line of intervention as dietitians, or as a dietitian, is let's try to get these nutrients from food, right? Again, not only because we're going to get the vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins from that food, for example, if we're having carrots, right? We're also getting other antioxidants, we're also getting fiber. And so when we add food, we're not only getting the fat soluble vitamins, we're getting a variety of other nutrients. So that would be the first intervention. And then if we're really struggling to do that, or if we have a deficiency, right? One, your doctor is going to address that. But the other thing too is that, okay, the guidance on the supplement, right? Again, we don't need these mega doses. Usually, most supplements are going to have what is called the daily value, the percentage daily value, or the percentage that is recommended. We don't need to have like 1,000%, right? Because again, specifically for these fat soluble vitamins, you're going to store them. You don't need these mega doses. Um, And also, you might don't have to take them every single day, right? You can take them, again, talk to your doctor about that, your healthcare professional, once or twice a week, right? Or something like that. So that way you can supplement, right? Whatever you're not getting from food, from that supplement that you're consuming. Um, I'll be doing probably another episode on just supplementation, like what to look for, um, because that's also needed. Not all supplements are going to be the best option. And also making sure that you do your due diligence as to the purity of the supplement and what else is added to the supplement. So anyway, there is that. There is another handout that I found that I will be also adding into the show notes, but I can just show you so that way you can see that. Again, if you are just listening, don't worry. You can always go to my YouTube channel and look at that, or you can view the resource in the show notes. But this one is done by the Colorado State University Extension, and it does a really good job at explaining what vitamins are, what the fat soluble vitamins are, and then the quick facts about them, and then food sources, of course. So then you can use that as well as another resource. It talks about the recommended dietary allowance, right? The RDA for vitamin D and all your fat-soluble vitamins. So you can look into that. Another thing that I really like about this handout is that it talks about too much of having that specific vitamin. So to give you an example, right? Too much of vitamin A. Where did it go? Deficiency. Vitamin A toxicity, right? It includes dry and itchy skin, headache, nausea, and loss of appetite. Signs of severe overuse over a short period of time include dizziness, blurred vision, and slow growth. Vitamin A toxicity can also cause severe birth defects and may increase the risk of bone loss and hip fractures. So there's that there as well, right? So if you're like, okay, I want to make sure that, I don't want prevention is key, right? So if you're taking these fat soluble vitamins in these mega doses, like over 1,000% of the RDA, or just too much of it every single on a daily basis, then what you can do is just stop them for a little bit, right? Again, because your body's storing them, so it's not that you're going to become deficient. But if you have the ability, right, to eat a variety of these foods, focus there instead, right? If you have these other health conditions that I mentioned, cystic fibrosis, pancreatitis, irritable bowel disease or syndrome, then talk to your healthcare team, right, to give you more guidance there. But again, if you're able to eat, right, it's better to get these nutrients from food first. So anyway, there is that handout for you. So just to recap here, this episode is about fat-soluble vitamins, right? I describe or I define what a fat-soluble vitamin is, what is a vitamin in essence, and I talked about each of the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K, what their functions are, the recommendations, and the food sources. There is a handout for you that you can use. You can share it with whoever you want to share it with. You can put it on your fridge if you want to, or in like a little binder. I'm going to add these other links of other resources that you can use, right? Again, thinking a supplement is not going to be a replacement of food, right? Unless, again, if for some reason, medical reason, you're not able to get a variety of these foods, then you can, use your supplement. But food is first. And yeah, any questions that you have, again, you can always reach out to me. You can put it in the comments. You can go to my YouTube channel, or you can email me at fueledbyleo@gmail.com. And you can reach out to me, or you can call me or send me a text at 559-512-0404. Okay. I'll be doing another episode on the water soluble vitamins, which is the rest of the vitamins. It is a bigger category, so I'll spend a little bit more time there. But again, you'll have resources that you can use as a reference. All right, my friend. Well, thank you for joining me today. Remember to stay strong and stay healthy and safe. I will see you and talk to you in another episode. Bye bye for now.